Thank you. Our meeting is being recorded, so we can post it later on our LSC page. Hey, welcome everyone, and happy almost winter break. It's nice to see everyone here. We had to have everybody here on virtual as well. I would like to welcome tonight. We have a special night. We have our network chief, Dr. Lamone, is in our audience, as well as Mr. Garcia from the Office of LSC. I just wanted to take a short moment to just extend our thoughts and prayers to Edwardville, Illinois, and all of the areas where the tornado hit, to all of our students, families, educators, and everyone who suffered through this massive tornado. I also want to thank all of our volunteers on the LSC. This is a volunteer local school council. A lot of people are on multiple committees and spend a lot of their personal time helping to make Taft a great place for our students, to make sure that our students succeed and create an environment conducive to learning and growing. So thank you everyone for your time. And as a reminder, we have a sign-in for contact tracing. CPS requires that. They also require that we have our masks on and that we social distance. As Chris said earlier, if you didn't hear, we have a sign-in for public comment up here if you want to speak at the public comment period. And we will also ask at that time virtually for people to type in at that time if they want to make a public comment as well. All right. So we are going to do a roll call and establish quorum, but we do have some members who are virtual. So we have to, before we do our roll call, we have to make a motion to allow our online virtual members to participate and vote in our meeting.
I'll make that motion.
I second.
Okay. Do we want to just do a general call, or do you want to call everybody's name, Karen?
General.
I think we could just do a voice vote.
Okay. All those in favor of allowing our virtual members to participate and vote?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone against? And anyone abstaining? Okay. So we are going to, pardon me. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. We did skip. Anita, do you want to go ahead with the lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Very true. Sure. Yeah, there's a lot on there.
Yes,
okay, great. So, Ms. Like, if you want to go the roll call. Here.
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 Laura Keeling. Here. Leah Pasco.
Juliana, are you here?
You just raised your virtual hand. Okay.
She's there.
She's here. Mary Kay Cobb.
Here.
Bridget Joey Stepping. Here. Scott Funster.
Here.
Millie Amano.
Here.
Amelia, are you present?
Yes.
I'm remote for this meeting.
Thank you.
Princess Kyle. Here. Skylar Lynn. And Mark Krishaber.
Here.
So quorum has been established.
Okay. All right, so as per the agenda, and if anybody needs to see the agenda, we do have it posted on the outside. If you want to take a screenshot of it, you can see our agenda on the table outside. We're just going to do a real short introduction. We've all been together for a few months now, but I want to introduce our two new LSC student reps. We now have three. These are our two new student reps over here. Thank you for taking on the volunteer role. If you want to just give us a quick little synopsis of how long you've been at Taft and what you're up to. And then we're going to do a real quick around the room, just say our names and what kind of rep we are so that our two new students know who we are.
Hi everyone, I'm Skylar and I'm a senior. I'm very excited to be here. I attempt to represent the student body as much as I can. And I'm also a part of Student Voice Committee, so that will be helping me represent the whole student body. Thank you.
Hi, Skylar.
Hi, my name is Princess Pyle. I'm a junior here at Taft, and I am also honored to be here and be a voice for the student body. Yeah, just thank you for letting me be here. I'm also a part of the Student Voice Committee, so that's definitely helped me find out what the issues are this week.
Welcome.
Great.
Thank you.
Welcome.
And if you want, we'll just go around like this and just introduce ourselves.
I'm Maria McDormand. I'm a parent rep, and I have a daughter who's a senior. I'm Anita Bernacki, and I'm a community rep.
I'm Mary Kay Cobb, a staff rep, and I work in room 112.
Hi, I'm Alex Davila. I am a parent rep in the LSC chair.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mark Chrissaver. I'm the principal.
I'm Bridget Doherty-Trey, and I am a teacher rep.
Scott Clemser, I'm a teacher rep. Scalera, parent rep, and I do have two kids here.
I'm Laura Keeling, and I'm a parent rep, and I have a daughter who's a senior. And I'm a parent, and I have a daughter who's Christopher Russo, parent rep, and I have a daughter who's a senior. I'm very proud of you.
We got Miss Pasco.
Yeah, Julieta Pasco. I'm a former Taft bilingual school psychologist, and I'm representing the community.
Thank you, Miss Pasco. Amelia?
I'm Amelia. I usually go by Millie though, and I'm a senior here.
Thank you. Okay, thank you again, everybody, for being here. We do not have Ms. Devine with us tonight. That's why it has an asterisk. So we are now moving to item number 5, approval of today's agenda. Does anybody want to make a motion to approve today's agenda? Anyone second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? Okay, the motion carries. Now we are approving the minutes from our November 9th meeting. Anyone would like to make a motion to
I'll make a
approve?
motion to approve the November 9th meeting minutes. I'll second it.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? All right, so now we're on, I'm sorry.
It's Juliana.
Oh, thank you, Julieta. So now we're moving on to number 7, COVID safety updates. Did you have someone who had any, one of your APs who has any
Do
updates?
you want to make a mention?
Sure.
Ms. Greenbelt.
So updates, we did, today for the first time institute the flips remote protocol, which we've not had to do this week. We know that contact tracing is pretty overwhelmed this week, so we did take some softwares that are potted and put those students to remote. So parents and students, by the end of the day today, that they'll start learning tomorrow. Until contact tracing finishes their investigation, so Wednesday through Friday, hopefully earlier if they can get to their. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Ms. Greenbelt.
Okay, does anybody have any questions for Ms. Greenblatt? Anybody in the LSC, pardon me. All right, so we are going to move to our reports, number 8. So our first report is our principal's report.
Okay, welcome, everyone. I'll give you the normal principal's report, which we do every month, and then we're going to have the state of the school, which I'm going to have the assistant principal doing. And so this last month, I met with 4,107 students in 34 groups on both campuses and talked about taking risks and caring. When we talked about caring with all the groups, and I think the ladies were there, we talked about caring for yourself, as far as dress code goes, caring about your teachers, caring about the facilities, and then caring about each other. So I think it was pretty good. It was nice getting to meet with all the kids. I have a new appreciation for teaching, my teaching colleagues out there, how first period you can barely get them to talk, and by 8th period you can't get them to be quiet, and all the way in between. So it was exhausting to me. So a new appreciation for teachers for me. On November 22nd and December 13th, we held our second and third vertical planning meeting led by our assistant principals. TCTs, which are teacher collaboration teams, have been visited by our assistant principals, and the English 2 team hosted a Minute to Win It SEL Day, which, if you don't know what SEL is, Social Emotional Learning Day for all of our sophomores. Remember, our sophomores have never been on a high school campus before, so it's really important that we take a time out once in a while and talk about SEL. Second one, held meeting with CPS AP coordinator and a CPS IB coordinator who then walked the building. Seniors that completed at least 3 applications is 50%. Sounds low, but it's actually high. And it's third in our network ahead of Lane Tech and Northside Prep. So that's testament to our senior seminar that we have going on that we've instituted this year. Also, our counselors are really pulling their weight right now. So we're really happy about that. We're top 3 in the network for applications for Latino males and English language learners. Freshmen on track is currently 98%.
Oh, good job.
Up from 87% a year ago, okay? This to put it in perspective, if the students were behind me, there'd be 140 students right now behind me saying that we're on track right now, and we wouldn't have been on track last year. So that's a testament to our houses that we have and also our freshman academy. I'm a firm believer that it's what we have started over there as far as kids aren't falling through the cracks. We had our first meeting with EOS equity team and participated in the district-wide EOS training. Next one, boys varsity basketball participated in the Chicago Elite Classic at the UIC Pavilion. That's only a select amount of teams that get to go in there. Usually the best in the nation get invited, and we were allowed to play in that. So it's really a big moment for Taft. We hired our 3rd conflict resolution specialist for the varsity campus, Mr. Andre Harris. So I'm really excited about Andre being here. He is all character. We also hired a youth intervention specialist, Isaac Roberson, also wonderful. We were allocated a 4th caseworker by CPS. They still haven't approved it yet. We're trying to find the budget for it right now, but we were allocated for that. A lot of that goes out to Miss Hess right there. She's a pit bull when it comes to getting us. She's probably got us $2 million worth of extra labor the last couple of years. So thank you, Ms. Hess. Next one, streamlined report card pickup day and parent-teacher conferences. Thank you to the PTSD. They bought all of our staff lunch that day, so that was really nice of them. Our staff really appreciates it. We held 20+ open house events at the Freshman Academy for the class of 2026. And yes, I'll say it, 2028. Can't believe we're going to have kids here from 2028. But we had them in little groups of 50 where they would meet, and either myself or Ryan or both of us would talk to them, and then they would tour the Freshman Academy with the students. So it was a big plus for us. A lot of kudos on that. I'm a member of the Network 14 High School Principal Advisory Board. Attended a Network 14 Principal and AP High School Summit. We have another one tomorrow. Dates to remember: Thursday, December 16th. My fault. We have our winter bowling party for our staff. We're looking forward to that. Thursday, January 27th is the end of the first semester. Can't believe it's almost here. December 18th is winter break, going to January 2nd. And I put it on there just because a lot of kids are always asking. Senior prom, June 3rd, and graduation is that same Sunday, so June 5th. So that's a principal report. Right now I'd like to bring up, or we'll talk, as the slides come up, this job does not get done by me alone. The only reason why we're such a great school right now is the effort of these 6 assistant principals. I was assistant principal at Whitney Young for 8 years, and I know that they're the workhorses behind the scenes. Not that our teachers don't work and our staff members, but all of the work that you're going to see right here in our State of the School, which I normally have in May, but the district has asked us to do it in December this year, is really the direct result of these 6 people right here. So as we go through it, let's just give them the attention, and we should be done probably in about 8 to 10 minutes, okay? So
Can I just ask, especially for our new student reps, there's a lot of acronyms. So if you can just maybe say them out the first time you say them so that we all know what we're talking about.
Will do.
Thank you.
Okay, got it. Okay, let's go. Okay. I think it's pizza sauce over here. Okay, so it's, can we maybe turn that one light off? There's one that has happened here. If you can just check that out over there. Yeah. Thank you, light person. Yeah,
Thank you.
That's going to be good. Yeah. So our motto is, our mission statement, our vision statement is educate global citizens to create a better world. Okay. So as you know, I like that one sign there. We've been recognized by U.S. News and Report for 3 years in a row now as one of the best high schools in the nation. Okay. So what we're going to talk about today is the CPS vision, 5-year goals, looking back at the school year 2021, and also looking ahead at the year 2022. So this is our vision for the 5 years. This is Mr. Flores, sir.
Hi, Eric Flores, assistant principal. So just really quickly, the 5-year CPS vision is, it starts with the mission and vision of CPS, which is the vision for CPS is success starts here. And that started 2 years ago in 2019. And it's a 5-year vision that goes through 2024. And I think the big thing that the board wants to impress on these slides is that no matter who is in the CEO's position, as we've experienced leadership change at the district level, the vision and the mission are the same. And when you read the mission, I think at Taft, it says in there that in every neighborhood, as the largest neighborhood high school in the city of Chicago, we are a big part of the vision of CPS here at Taft. So the way that the district wants to, sees the 5-year vision being fulfilled is through these next three components. So one is academic progress, financial stability, and integrity. And I think the big part, the big takeaway here on this slide is looking at what surrounds the apple, which is equity. And so the district sees equity as a driver and not as an add-on. And our approach to equity here at Taft is seen through our partnership with the Equal Opportunity School organization, and we call it EOS, and that's something that we'll touch again later in the presentation. So the board defines equity, in this next slide is a great visual of how the board defines equity. It's not just about giving everybody the same bike, it's really about getting students what they need, and so the students can move forward, and that's what the bottom image shows. Every student is getting the bike that's right for them to move them forward. And so that is what the district is really all about in this 5-year vision. The other part of the 5-year vision are the core values. And as the 4th largest IB school in the world, these core values are very much aligned to the core values at Taft and the core values of the International Baccalaureate organization.
Did you say in the world? Taft
Yes.
is the 4th in the world?
In the world.
Yeah, 4th largest in the world. Which is a great accomplishment, and there's a lot that goes into that. We have an NYC program that spans all 7 through 10 grade levels. That's over 2,000 students, and as we continue to expand our diploma program, that just adds to that number. All right, let's see. The last part of the 5-year vision for CPS are some goals they've set. The high school goals are all on the right, and we are either approaching or have surpassed those goals. And so within the district, every school has their own kind of unique set of goals based on where their current progress is and where the board wants them to be by 2024. And like I said, we'll have a slide later that shows that we're approaching, if not surpassing, most of those goals. And I know it's hard to read, but those are freshman on track, graduating within 5 years, meeting college readiness benchmark on the SAT, graduating and enrolling in college, and earning early college credentials. So, with that, I will hand it over to Ms. Greenblatt to talk about looking back at our last school year during the pandemic.
Thank you. All right, so in January of 2020, we started the CIWP, or Continuous Improvement Work Plan. And we, as a team, looked through our historical data and chose 3 goals: to increase our attendance, to increase freshmen on track, and to increase our PSAT and SAT growth. Obviously, the pandemic hit, and so the way those metrics are collected and measured has changed significantly. But we just after going through the process, the school effectiveness framework, doing what's called root cause analysis on all of our data points, the CIWP team narrowed in on 4 priorities. So curriculum instruction, MTSS with an academic focus, and student voice engagement and civic life. Even with the pandemic happening, we were still able to maintain the focus on IB alignment in the area of curriculum, the embedding the IB approaches to teaching for instruction, focusing on our IB approaches to learning for our students, especially with our 9th and 10th graders in houses, and with the providing more civic engagement opportunities across grade levels and subject areas. And so you can go to the next slide. When the pandemic hit and those that really robust, I think in my time at Taft is the most robust CIWP plan, we have had, we really wanted to make sure we kept it front and center even as we went remote. And so this slide was created really just as one visual to keep us all focused. We use this at every single staff meeting for the duration of last school year. And as you can see, being an IB World School, our mission and vision, our 4 CIWP priorities, and then kind of going down into more detail in terms of our instructional priorities. But this really kept us focused throughout our year remote. You can go to the next slide. All right, I'm going to turn it back to Mr. Grishaber to talk a little bit more about.
Okay, we've always been talking about our SQRP, and I know Ms. Ferguso, this is one of her things. She says, when she got on the board, I want to be a 1+ school before I leave this board. And so we just put this on here. We've had the inability to rate the last 2 years, but we kind of keep a track on it because that's kind of our report card. So I just want everybody to know right now, we were for my first year here, we were a level 2, then we went to a level 1, or 2+ the next year, and then we went to a level 1. We've been a level 1 the last couple of years. However, if you look at some of the stats this year, like our graduation rate, we've increased that metric. So we went from 4 points to 5 points. These are the other metrics that are on there, but freshmen on track, that was always like the anchor that was holding us back. We could never get above the 87%. We needed 90% to get the 5 points, and that was really weighted heavily, like about 10%. And now we would be getting that 5 points because right now we're not even close to 90%. We're at 97%, okay, which is huge. Our 5 essential survey also increased from 3 to 4%. It's not official, but if you were to work all the numbers right now, we would be a level 1+ school, which is unbelievable for this school with the amount of kids we have in it. People are calling us up saying, what are you guys doing over there? Because this is amazing that the size of your school, you are a level 1+ school, which is usually only reserved for some of the select enrollment schools. So that's testament to our teachers, our staff, and everybody in here, especially this LSC. So let's go to the next slide. Oh, you did? Okay, good. One of the nice things about COVID, and we were just talking about, it seems like it was just yesterday, but when administrators are freed up to do what they need to do and have visions, this is what happened in the last year. So the last year, we're IB for All, we instituted something called Senior Seminar. If you were in our DP program, you had like a parachute. If you were in AVID, you had a parachute. NJROTC, you had a parachute, and you had a driver to get you into college. But we had about 600 students that were not. And so what we started was a senior seminar, which is kind of like a homeroom where all they do each day, it's an elective that they go in there and they meet with teachers and they talk to them about their college choices. You have to understand, in this neighborhood, a lot of our kids don't even understand what college is. They don't even think they should be going to college. No, I'm just going to do this. And then after you take this class, you saw the stats. Now kids are actually open up to college, and you see kids are now applying to 4-year colleges. We're no longer like, I'm just going to go to Wright College, good college and all that stuff. But now kids are opening their minds, and that's a direct result of our APs that we're working on this. We also have grading policy. This was huge for us. I just showed you how our freshmen on track went from 87%, and this is because we have equal grading bands. No longer do we have 10 points, 10 points, 10 points, 10 points, 60 points. Everything is 10 points. It's equitable. It's fair for everybody. It's a fair grading practice. That's starting to pay dividends for us. We have our equal opportunity schools, which we're working. We're trying to get some of our minority students into AP classes, okay, where normally they wouldn't have been in there. It's a wonderful program, and we're honored to have it, and that's testament to Dr. Lamone for getting us in that program. Vertical common planning time. If anybody, I'll just explain this real quick. If you have like a math, like freshman math, they'll meet, and that's called horizontal planning. Okay, what are we doing? Vertical planning is math freshmen will talk to math sophomores and say, where do you want them to be? And so we don't have people all over the place. So it's really important that we have this vertical planning time right now because it's more coherent as far as driving our curriculum. AP computer science principles. A lot of kids were taking computer science and we're like, take AP computer science. Oh, I can't do it. It's not that hard. It's one of the easier AP classes to get into. And right now, normally at this time, or after about 3 weeks of school, I would have kids lined up. And this was at Whitney Young High School as well as Taft. They lined up, I can't do this course. It's too tough. I can't do this. I've had the normal amount, but not even for AP computer science at all. Not one kid has come to me and says, I'm out of my league in this thing. So kids are going to get AP credit for computer science because it was a course that they should have been taking all along. So most of our kids are going to take AP computer science. The house structures to 10th grade. We know house structures work. It's putting, who doesn't know what a house structure is, you walk into the school and you may have come from a grammar school with 25 kids in your graduating class, and you're going to walk into Taft with 1,100 kids. It could be overwhelming. So what we do is we put them in houses of 150 kids. And they're mostly with those kids all day long. They still have a couple of electives where they expand, and they also have the dining hall but what happens is once a week, those 5 teachers meet and they talk about their kids. No kids are falling through the cracks right now because we could have them. Ms. Doherty Treading will tell you that they talk about, what about this kid? How come he's quiet in your class? What do you do to help this kid? Oh, this is what I do. I put him in charge of whatever, and it helps him out. Or did you know that this student won the track meet? Or did you know this one student that stopped at the beginning of the track meet and helped the kid up? Did you know that? So the kids are not falling into the track. 87%, you got to understand, everybody, 87% freshmen on track. If you go up 1%, people are calling you, what's going on? We went up 10 points. Okay, so this is working, and now we've expanded it to our sophomores. Now people are going to say juniors and seniors, that's a little tougher because we have, more people are taking electives and a lot harder, but we've got something that works and we've expanded it to our sophomores. We have additional EL and DL students in our freshman houses. Normally we didn't, and now we do. What's the effect of that? They used to have a freshman on track for our DL and EL students at 85%, sometimes as low as 82%. 100% DL kids are passing right now as freshmen. And counselors in class workshops. What we do is we have our counselors overworked, we understand that, but they push into classes. So 6 times a year, every student knows who their counselor is. No longer am I hearing, like my first couple of years, I don't even know who my counselor is. They all know who their counselor is, okay? Their counselors, and what I was taught is they're guidance counselors. They guide the dance, okay? The dance through high school. So all of these kids know their counselors, and it's just have wonderful effects. And I'll just say this real quick. I can't tell you how many times I'm walking around the school and somebody's crying. And I say, what's up? And I walk into the counselor and I put them in there. And the next period, they're out in the lunchroom and they're laughing, okay? Counselors pick up the pieces and they touch kids' hearts. So it's very important that the kids know their counselors. And then we have hybrid parent-teacher conferences. One of the nice things that came out of COVID, if there is an ancillary benefit, it's that now we don't have to have all these parents that are rushing after work to get here at 5 o'clock and we have this big rush, so we can all do it online. I think we all learned how to do Zoom. 3 years ago, we wouldn't have known what Zoom was. I'd be like, that's a TV show from the 70s, right? No, everybody knows what Zoom is right now and they can do it. All right, Pat, I think you're up.
Patrick Levin, assistant principal. Just want to, this slide really touches on returning to in-person learning and through our current time. And, as far as the COVID plans went, we as a team, in conjunction with the safety committee, we continue to evolve our procedures and was able to kind of come back and continue to do the best we can in the circumstances we have in terms of the COVID. And even like Ms. Greenblatt mentioned earlier, the transition, trying to be as safe as possible in the conditions we have. Care rooms, we right now, thankfully, we've got it staffed and on a more consistent basis, and we're using them the way they should be. Even the purifier asked me the other day about that. That's part of the engineer's maintenance schedule, so they do check those on a continuous basis. So those are taken care of. I can't speak enough about our security team for logistics in terms of distributing technology, in terms of just kind of getting the building in order, as we transition into in-person learning. So again, a complete team effort on their part. Socialization and re-engagement efforts. We know that culture and climate, having kids belong, having kids want to be at school, engage. The minute we had the guidance, we offered our coaches did a great job. We followed protocol. We were able to offer athletics. We continue to do so. It really is kind of the key to get our students back, socialization, and really involved in Taft High School like we were prior to the pandemic. Freshman and sophomore connections that were run over the summer, well attended. And, it's in conjunction with the team that ran that, the counseling department. Just again, getting the kids back in the building, introducing them to the facilities, having them feel comfortable when they return is, again, just a key piece to trying to get our students involved back at Taft High School. Credit recovery classes, even the retreat for the house teachers over the summer again, trying to just get people acclimated, get them back in as we moved into the school year. The technology upgrade, these, thankfully we were able to find the funding, and we were able to equip all classrooms with Chrome cards. We were able to return, collect back almost, I think, we were short maybe 200 out of over almost 3,000 Chromebooks that were distributed. Able to get those back, recondition them. Mr. Trin in the corner, he leads our technology team. Again, we are so fortunate to have that technology team. Alex Chenley and Pong Pong now is added. I can't tell you how amazing they are. The work that they do on 2 campuses is just phenomenal. So we're very fortunate. ViewSonics, we were able to add ViewSonics. If it wasn't ViewSonics, we had LCD. The goal was to try to equip all classrooms so it didn't matter what room the teacher was in, you knew what you had available, and you could conduct your lesson accordingly. So that was the goal for the tech team, and it was accomplished. And it's really great to kind of see those advancements and to help the educational process. The apps were huge as we were kind of returning to in-person instruction. We were able to kind of get Nzella, Paradeck, Cami, just all different types of apps that were able to kind of facilitate, again, instruction in difficult situation. Thankfully CPS, also provided us additional technology. We had laptops, we were able to kind of swap out the old ones for the new ones. We were able to get cameras for the laptops didn't have them. Just all kinds of headphone speakers. We really wanted our staff to be prepared to successfully teach that they were presenting. So again, these areas and the total team effort to kind of make it the best possible situation. And I think we really did amazing considering what's happening.
Thank you, Mr. Levens. My name is Dan Kuzma. I'm one of the assistant principals, and I'll kind of go through the end of last year and bridging into the beginning of this year. So if you look at last year's performance data based on the district metrics that were provided, I kind of bucketed it into 2 areas. So some of the metrics connected with student learning, we know how hard it was with instruction and students engaging through remote learning through the majority of the year. So we saw some of them take a slight step back. We know that other districts, other states had just much more class time than Chicago public schools. But what we did see a step forward was with our kind of structural metrics, freshmen on track to graduation. And we think that sets students up really well for their learning this year. The fact that our teacher teams, counseling teams, support staff were able to stabilize and even improve the freshmen on track to graduation metrics. And then looking ahead to this school year, we also look at several of the main metrics and initiatives that we're pushing for this school year. Again, as Principal Greenblatt said, we kind of revamped the Clover idea for this school year and have been using this visual as a way for us to organize our thoughts and to be the center of each of our all staff meetings with this. Our 2021-2022 vision was this, that we worked in July with some of our teacher leadership teams, course lead teams, department chairs, coordinators, was to focus on three things: a safe and healthy return to school, which is built out a little bit more on the top left; instructional consistency within classroom experience, for those students returning to school after a year and a half or 18 months off. That consistency from classroom to classroom, teacher to teacher, would really benefit the students at the bottom left. And then again, doubling down on a lot of the really positive elements we have in terms of school-wide supports and kind of the bottom middle there. So those are the three big pushes we're trying to continue to develop and for our students to have. One of the school-wide emphases for this school year, so 2021-2022, is something Principal Grishaber alluded to, is really looking at our post-secondary planning and looking at how our senior seminar team is able to really try to set our current seniors for the best outcomes as a one foot in the present and 1 foot in the future when they're leaving CAP next year. So the way I'm overall thinking of representing this, I'm not going to go through every number, is in general in past years, going back 4 or 5 years, about 75% of CAP graduates enroll in college. About half of those 75% enroll in 2-year college colleges, and about the other half enroll in 4-year colleges and universities. So we are trying to push 2 things forward, which marked by the green pendings there. So we're still waiting on the data for last year from the National Clearinghouse. We would like to see the overall number of enrollees go up, but we would also like to see the number of 4-year enrollees go up as well. In general, big generalities here, but 4-year colleges and universities can have higher graduation rates. And obviously, if sending students to schools with higher graduation rates, we'll have more students graduating within the time frame. We do have 384 seniors taking a senior seminar this year, which again, as Principal Grishaber said, is new. Mr. Salinas is leading the team of 5 teachers and is doing just an excellent job. They're doing so much more than this, but at the baseline level we're meeting in August, it's time, space, college, knowledge, and advocacy. And setting up a structured place every single day where those 384 seniors have those 4 things. Now, the 5 teachers are going way beyond that. That 4, that's a really positive thing for our students to experience 5 days a week. What that is also doing is it's splitting our class of about 800 seniors into 2 groups: students that have seminar and students that don't have seminar. And the students that don't have seminar, our 8 counselors at the varsity campus level and our college and career coach here are able to basically provide so much more time to them and do so much more one-on-one work with those students. So really having half our students in seminar is a win for all students. This is data as of yesterday, I can't remember. But what we see in the dark blue here, all the way on the left-hand side, there's 21 schools in Network 14. As of yesterday, Taft is 3rd in the number of students who have applied to 3 or more colleges and universities at this point. When we talk as a post-secondary team with the teachers and counselors, applications mean options. So right now we are at a point in December of 2021 where the students that will graduate in 2022 are sitting there with considerably more options than in the past. In the past, we'd kind of be in the middle of the pack, even on kind of the right side of the pack here. And our seminar team, our counselors have set up the structure to bring out the potential in the students to apply and create these options. Drilling down just a little bit further, I know this is a little bit hard to see. This is year over year, so on the right is this year, and then the year before, the year before, the year before. This is the number of students up until yesterday, percent of students that have applied to a 4-year college and university. So our goal was to have more students applying to 4-year colleges and universities. What we're seeing is about 70% have already applied to at least one 4-year college and university. And then we're excited to see, you can go forward, Mr. Smith. We're excited to see this is a broad-based approach. So this is the same graph here. You can see Taft is 2nd out of 21 schools right now for students with a GPA 2.0 to 2.99. So again, like at the team that Mr. Salinas and Mr. Nicholas, our senior seminar team lead and our counseling department chair, rooted in that is we don't want tests. We don't want 200 of our students really excelling in a college search and kind of quote unquote leaving 600 behind. So we're using different metrics, and especially that 2.0 to 2.99 to make sure that for our kind of for our student who is a B and C student throughout, are we ensuring that student has high quality options that really have that? So we're really proud of that. So here I will hand it over to
everybody. My name is Melissa Hess, and I am an assistant principal, and I work primarily at the Taft Freshman Academy. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the Moving Forward Together funds. Those are the COVID funds that CPS has received additionally as support in supporting students post-pandemic. Here is how Taft High School has made some of those investments. We've invested in human capital, so we've utilized those funds in additional teaching overtime positions. We have also used that to purchase culturally relevant materials. We had an overhaul in our language and literature department to purchase a variety of culturally relevant texts. We have also utilized the funds to support student interest. A couple of those ways are we supported brand new band uniforms, and we also bought brand new instruments like guitars. We've also utilized these funds to celebrate students and staff members in varying ways. Some of those ways are providing them just with lunches on professional development days, celebrating the beginning of the year. We created a really awesome goodie bag for them. And then we've also invested in professional development. This year we've purchased every single staff member a copy of Grading for Equity, which is where we've rooted some of our foundational grading practices in. And that's kind of the gist of our funding. I'm also going to talk to you a little bit about our parent partnerships. Throughout the pandemic and continuing into this year, we've provided weekly communication to our students and families. We have also created several parent partnerships where we provided workshops this year. Some of those included a presentation called Hope and Healing, which was provided by CPS's Crisis Management Unit. And we also partnered with Parents Against Vaping, as vaping has been a significant issue affecting many high schoolers, not just at Taft High School, but across the nation. And we've also continued our work with our bilingual advisory committee, and Ms. Pasco has been a very big supporter of that on our LSC.
All right, hello everyone, my name is Ryan Loatz. I'm another assistant principal at Taft High School. I work primarily at the Freshman Academy. I'm going to provide you with an overview of efforts we have towards student engagement. With student engagement, our goal is really to provide students with the most positive, welcoming place so that they can pursue their curricular and extracurricular interests. Before I get into the things that we're doing, I do want to acknowledge this is definitely one of the areas we want to partner with Student Voice Committee on to see what are our areas of growth. So we look forward to that in the next several months. But there's really a few key areas that we leverage to increase student engagement. The first is really before students step foot on campus, either at the Freshman Academy or at the varsity campus. So, and that's through our freshman and sophomore connection. Last year, we welcomed back freshman and sophomore connection after taking a year off. And we had about 750 freshmen participate and about 600 sophomores. Those numbers are great, taking into account that the most time students spent on campus prior to that were just 2 days a week. So, this year our goal is to get back to pre-pandemic numbers of 950 freshmen. Before freshmen even step foot on campus, another thing we're bringing back this year is our incoming freshman sports and activities night. That will be in May of 2022, and that's where current 8th graders who will attend Taft next fall come to campus, and we have a sort of activities fair where they can meet current coaches and sponsors and learn how they can get engaged prior to even stepping foot on campus. We spoke about counseling supports throughout this meeting, so I'll go through this briefly. We talked about our Tier 1 classroom visits, where counselors visit classrooms 6 times throughout the year. Another counseling support that we have in place to help students feel welcome and supported are our small groups. So counselors have groups like executive functioning groups where if a student just needs more help being organized, grief groups for occasions where students are experiencing loss. And then also our one-on-one counseling supports. Our house structure, we spoke about that extensively tonight. Some new things that we're doing in there this year is our Student of the Month recognition. So once a month, all houses, the teachers identify students to recognize. There's a bulletin board at each campus. Students receive a certificate. There's a t-shirt they receive. Again, just another thing to help build culture and get students excited about coming to school. In houses, roughly once a month, teachers have an approaches to learning, where students are learning skills to be successful in their classes, or an SEL day. So on these days, it's a pause in the curriculum, students can catch their breath, so that they're not falling behind in their classes. And then another house structure we have, when teachers are off, students are off. So when students are at lunch, teachers are at lunch. And one thing that we've been building on this year are things like lunchtime tutoring and supports in that way. And then lastly, our last area for leveraging student engagement is our extracurricular offerings. Over the last 7-8 years, Taft has grown to offer more varsity sports than any other Chicago public school. So that's something that will continue. It's really hard to add any more sports. Like we've kind of added all of them. Fencing, I guess fencing is something we could add. But in terms of athletics, I think our area of growth here are non-athletic activities. Drama is huge at Taft, chess, science, Olympiad. I think robotics is a great example of a curricular addition that's also an extracurricular. And then students at Taft love volunteering, so definitely an area of growth for us there. Our community partnerships increase volunteer opportunities. And then lastly, we get post-crisis in this pandemic is returning towards domestic and international travel opportunities. All right, I'm gonna hand it back to Ms. Greenblatt.
So with our instructional core, the instructional core is curriculum, instruction, and assessment. So many Chicago public schools switched over to a Skyline curriculum this year, but as an IB World School, we were able to really focus in on strengthening those 3 areas with IB. So with curriculum, making sure that we focus on alignment with our middle years program, especially as we have so many new staff members from prior to the pandemic, and prioritizing sending new staff to training. As mentioned several times before, the vertical alignment from our middle years program into IB diploma. Our IB diploma language and literature for all, we are in year 1, and so we have many sections of either the standard level or higher level language and lit for all of our juniors, and over 3 to 5 years getting that to every student, and the addition of AP computer science for schools. With instruction, again, as Mr. Kuzma said, really the consistency with classroom experiences. We want to make sure that every student coming into Taft has a really similar experience for 4 years in and out of the classroom. And that is where the vertical planning and teacher collaborative time comes in to really make sure that no matter which teacher you have or which level you're in, you're having a really consistent experience. And then that embedded social emotional learning. And finally, our assessment, we're always working to make sure that our middle years program assessments really mirror those IB diploma assessments. For example, in our language and literature department, we're really starting those internal assessments, the oral exams, starting to do mini at our freshman and sophomore levels, so that by the time our students are in the language lit for all, that they are prepared for this. And finally, Mr. Ford or Mr. Gershaver.
Yeah, this is what I had talked about earlier. As far as when we first got here, it was a level 2 school, and we've increased to a level 2+. And now you can see, and also I put our enrollment on there. Right now we're at 4,107. Next year our projection is going to be 4,450, which will probably put us the largest CPS school. The bottom line is 7.5 years ago when we started here, we made just a couple of promises, and one was to be a great school where kids would choose this first over other schools. And I think we've done that. We've had, since I've been here, we've increased enrollment by 1,500 kids, which is probably about 1,000 families have said, let's go here. The other promise I said is we've had Friday night lights, which we have. So if you look at all of our numbers, and I know everybody here did not come here tonight to watch this presentation. So I appreciate all your patience. We have to do this once a year. I know you came on the night that we had to do this, so I appreciate your patience on this. So you can see by this, we have an unbelievable school. We've come a long way. We have a lot longer, we have more work to do. But I just owe this all to the teachers, the counselors, the staff members, and I want to put a plug out for my APs right here, because not only are they working their butts off here, 3 of them have new babies. So we have baby Riley Hess, we have Xavier Kuzma, and we have Kevin Glowit. So can we have a round of applause for all of our staff? I think it's just a thank you slide, right? Thank you. There you go. Any questions from the LSC?
You know I do.
I know you do.
Mr. Kuzma, I tried Tommy to figure out what slide it was, but it's the off track on target slide.
That's provided by the district.
So, keep going, Tommy. My question's gonna be obvious, is what are we doing for the off track? Is that, do we influence that, or is that just data that we get? Like, how do we improve on, how do we get back on track is the question.
Yeah, so the short answer, it is data that we get in the data of how students performed last school year. So I think
There were like 6, keep going, Tommy. Yes. So the 1, 2, 3, 4 off track.
So again, I hate to be overly simplistic about a couple of them, but I think like getting back with in-person learning is like the number 1 driver of that.
Okay.
I do think I kind of glazed over it. I compared a lot of those are national level. So like the AP college readiness are all like kind of nationally or internationally standards, and other places had way more in-person instruction last school year than we did. So I think like as my colleagues were expressing, we have a lot of like in a lot of areas good structures in place to support students, and then when we pair that with the appropriate amount of class time per week of in-person instruction, that's the drive.
Totally get it, and I appreciate it, but that's not how we roll here at Taft. We want to be above the benchmark. We raise the bar for our kids, they can meet. So get the whole, they were off track because of remote learning, but so by next state of the school, we should be on track.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Well, what else is nice, as Mr. Russo, is one of the SQRP benchmarks that they're floating right now for next year is sophomore on track. Right now, our sophomore on track is 87%, which is indicative because last year's freshman on track was 87%, we can't get them. So next year, we're gonna move these 98% kids into the sophomore on track. So we're gonna do well on both those metrics. So we just have to matriculate the kids through the system.
Thank you.
It's all about freshmen on track. Oh, yes.
No, killing it, I love it. So the second thing I just comment, and we talked about this, is yes, we want to have the kids in college and it's important and those numbers are critical. But there are a lot of kids who college isn't for, and I don't want folks to think that we're not focusing on trade school, on other alternatives to schools or to colleges, because we do focus on that. It just was nowhere reflected in this presentation, and I just wanted to say that it is important to us that if you're not for college, that's totally cool, but do some, go travel, go do something. And I think our counselors are working on that, right?
We are, but again, one of our pushes of these last couple of years is we'd ask kids, where are you going to college? Where are you going to college? And they tell us. And then they would do the slam dunk, I'm gonna be an electrician. And like the conversation will be over. Now we say, where are you going to college though? Because we want you to have a business degree or at least a couple years, because later on, if you're in an electrical firm, they're gonna look for a manager and they're gonna look for somebody with college. So it's not that we are gonna look down on anybody with that just wants to do a trade or be a trade. I got trade people making $120,000 a year. It's a wonderful thing. But we're not going to give up on the college.
I appreciate that, but I don't, not every kid is built for college, and I just.
But don't tell them that, because they don't, a lot of them don't know.
I appreciate that.
Okay, good.
And I get that, and I get the whole college push. I get it, I'm on board 100%.
I know.
We are amenable to the kids that do want to go to trade school and come out making $85,000 in their first year coming out of trade school.
And I'm gonna say this, having been a product of this neighborhood since 1972, I would rather, I think a lot of kids need that push that says, I can really go to college. It wasn't even a thing on that. So we're not gonna give up on that. But I understand that not all kids are for college, but all kids are gonna be asked to go to college.
That's true.
Good.
That's true. That was it.
Okay, thank you.
I wanted to follow up on what you were saying, Chris, about that same thing with the college push. I just want to know, for the college push, part of the big thing is we have a lot of kids who get into college, but then they can't afford college after their first year or first semester. So do we have a committee or a group that pushes and works on scholarships for the kids? And how is that
$25
going?
million last year.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Dan, anything else?
Yeah, I mean, the district has a new scholarship tool this year that I think is really, it's more effective than anything like I've seen yet so far, and I'm like really optimistic for how it can be used. I know our seminar team, Mr. Boyd specifically, is like, I'm gonna be the point person for this and really sink in on the scholarship tool. The team is already, they're looking in seminar right now, students are applying for 3 types of scholarships. They're applying for institutional aid, they're applying for, just names will have the exact right now, it's institutional aid, general scholarships, and then scholarships where students have some type of like connectedness to it, not necessarily dependent on the institution. So yes, like each week, first week institutional aid, second week something you're connected with, like third is just general. So every student should be leaving with multiple, like guided with how to apply to multiple scholarships through that summer class. And that was the big focus of the 3 weeks of December. Each week was one.
And 2 other points I'd like to make on that. We've never had a higher percentage of our kids earning college and career credit before they go to college. So they're walking into college probably with a good scholarship and probably with 4 or 5 classes that they don't have to take anymore, okay? So that's one area. And any parents out there that are in the audience or listening right now, please fill out your FAFSA. Well, because I've been telling everybody to do it for years, and then when my daughter Kayla was going to college, I'm like, I'm not gonna do this. There's no way I'm gonna get any FAFSA. But I said, you know what, that's hypocritical. You tell all your parents to do it, so I did it. So I did it, and it was tough, it was laborious, it was in my social security, it's her, but anyway, I did it. And she went to University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, and we got $1,000 credit per semester because Wisconsin borders Illinois. I didn't even know that was out there. Had I not filled out FAFSA, I wouldn't have had that. So everybody should fill out FAFSA because there's a lot of money out there that you would get that you normally wouldn't think you'd get. So just one push.
Madam Chair, as Principal G, there's a comment that I think is a great comment
What
from
does it say?
Mr. Solon. It's the STAR Scholarship Program at CCC. I mean,
Right.
It's extraordinary.
Anybody with a 3.0 GPA can go to a community college for free. All right.
Okay. Any other questions? Yes.
Can you go back to the slide with the statistics of if we're on track or off track?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that one. So what is the school doing to prepare students for the SATs?
Jenny, you want to help us with that one? That's your baby.
Yeah, I mean, I think, one of the reasons why this is cut down is because the year before the pandemic, the fall practice exams did not happen, and then the spring of 2020 exams did not happen. And so a lot of our students didn't have any practice before taking last year's assessment. So our curriculum, especially at our junior level, is aligned to the SAT. And so we really firmly believe that our teachers are the skills that you're learning in class are going to prepare you for the SAT, and that this is really more of a reflection of not having the opportunity to practice and sit for that exam. So now that we're back, we had the fall assessment, which luckily, we give that practice to freshmen, sophomores, and juniors, which is optional, right? Really, the only juniors have to take it, but we think it's really important to go through that process of just sitting and having the experience. And so now that we're back, we have that data from the fall, which teachers will be getting when we return after winter break. They'll be able to use that to make any adjustments and help students with specific skill areas that they may need to work on. The other thing we're doing once we return from winter break is kind of our annual data day with students getting their scores and linking that with Khan Academy, where you can get that personalized practice. It's really just based on how you did on your PSAT.
CPS has made the initiative in the last couple of years. We used to take the PSAT, and then years ago, we take the ACT, 2 different tests. So CPS has made the initiative. You're going to take the PSAT, take the SAT, which is the linear test that they can take right now. But I'll tell you, nothing prepares a student better for the SAT than rigorous and relevant instruction. And we have great teachers, and they're all talking to each other. That's why we have the horizontal planning and we have the vertical planning. When you've got great teaching and great curriculum and rigorous curriculum, that's what prepares. I can say right now, I don't think there's ever been a class that has gone through Taft in 82 years that has taken a more rigorous curriculum than we're giving them right now. We're not, I call them educational vegetables all these years. No longer do we have these club med schedules where you're going to take this and this. Every kid is challenged in this school, and I think that's only going to help us with SAT.
Well, Ms. Kyle, you're a junior, correct? Yeah. And you just got your PSAT scores? As my daughter just got hers, and she was not happy with the score because of last year. And I think this junior class, Principal G, I don't want to speak on your behalf because now my daughter's a junior too. She's concerned because last year is tough, and this class has to sort of catch up. And
yeah, I agree. I definitely feel like there should be times in English and math class where we focus on taking the SAT test. And, you know, in my English class, our teachers spend time with us, telling us how to answer questions and, you know, how to eliminate the wrong answers and stuff like that. So maybe in other classes they can do that as well, because a lot of people aren't satisfied with their scores on the SAT, the PSAT. So, yeah.
On that note, I just want to know, Ms. Greenblatt, how are we making sure that all of those kids, especially now the juniors would be a big focus, how do we make sure when we come back that we are connecting with Khan Academy? Does that happen through a counselor? Does that happen through English class? Like how does that happen?
Yeah, we're still working out the details. We want to make sure we've had a lot of things that teachers are asked to do that are outside of their normal, their planned lessons. So the typical in the past, pre-pandemic, the math department has really taken on that linking. So they're really good at helping students find their College Board accounts and link them with Khan Academy. So they'll likely be in that in their math classes, but that'll be in January. Okay. And it'll happen all kind of in one day or within a couple of days, so that it's kind of everybody gets it at the same time.
Okay.
And then
go ahead,
no, so also because the College Board no longer sends paper score reports, but we have a template that we use where it shows students, so for our current juniors, if they took the PSAT 8-9, they were the only students to have a practice test that year. It'll have their 8-9 scores and their fall scores. So they will be able to see if they went up, compared to what the kind of projected is. And then we tie that into like college match and selectivity and GPA, and then they'll do some goal setting while also linking. So that will be interesting.
So just because it will be important for the juniors, we're not getting mailed, like I think I've emailed a few of you about that. There was some issue, and so those SQRP reports, or not SQRP reports.
They don't mail them at all.
No, not the SQRP reports, the fold out that with all that, those aren't getting mailed now. How are we making sure our students can access those reports so they can see their projections and?
Yeah. So that will be all part of that day.
Okay.
They will be in class to log into their College Board accounts. The teachers that will do that will know kind of where to look if they have to do the matching tool or otherwise. But then we will also have a paper copy which will have their scores.
Okay.
So even if they are delayed and if there's a College Board issue, so students set up their own College Board account, and we unfortunately the school have zero impact on them. So there's some students with like 3 College Board accounts with like their legal name and then initial, their nickname, and then they don't see their scores because College Board doesn't like know which one to put the scores into. So that does have to be done on the student parent level, but we will guide students through that. Oftentimes, that'll be like a one-time thing where you go ahead and take out your phone and call College Board so that you can verify which account is your real one, and take care of that. And so we will guide them through making sure that they have the access to that account, which is really important because that's how they set their scores.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Greenblatt. Ladies, and I'll tell you this right now, now that you have assumed a leadership role at Taft High School, don't bring your suggestions or comments to the meeting. You know where my office is. You need to march in and knock on my door and say, Mr. G, we need to talk right now. Much like Ms. Russo does a lot during the month, okay? So please feel free to come on in and tell me what you think we can change and get better, okay? I'm giving you permission to do that, okay?
Anybody else have any other questions before we move on the LSC?
I gotta do budget.
Oh, yeah, right.
Okay.
I mean, it's still all part of it, but we're
Gotcha.
done with that part.
Okay, good. Let me go through the budget real quick. We went.
You want your skipping student spotlight coming up?
Not. The last part of the principal report is the budget report, which is budget transfers, which I have to ask permission for any time we spend more than $10,000 or if we're making any budget transfers. So we've already talked about it at the budget committee, but I'll go over it here for the rest of the LSC. We had one expense for Compass Transportation for athletics for $12,350. That's for our buses for all of our sports teams in December. It's actually low. The last couple of months it was around $20,000, but since December is a little bit less than every other month, it's only $12,000. And we have Courtesy Electric is going to install the electric for our new alumni clock, which is going to be in the quad, which is $16,300. Not coming out of our funds. That was fundraised by the Alumni Association, especially the Alumni Association and a lot from the class of 1959. Next, we have some internal account book transfers. We had to transfer $16,300 from the Taft donations account in order to pay that bill. And then we also had budget transfers. We had $12,584, and this is in everybody's files here, for band uniforms. I had one more athletic supplies for $12,500. School assistant position 2 times. What they gave us at the beginning of the year was 6 miscellaneous positions, which were paying $15 an hour. No benefits until February. I couldn't get anybody to take those jobs. I think I had one person take that job. So I asked CPS if they could roll those over into something called a school assistant position, which was $35,000 a year with benefits. Since I had those, I didn't get 6 of them, but I was able to put all those positions and get 3 of those. And so those are a little bit easier to sell to people. Nobody wanted a $15. I mean, I go to Wendy's and make $15 an hour, and they'll employ me all year, Mr. G. But $35,000 for the whole year working at Taft High School, a great school with benefits. We're able to fill 2 out of 3 right now, so we're still looking for a 3rd one. So we had to transfer funds between those accounts to make that happen. We had offset negative buckets. We always do $25,000. They rise and they fall, so that's a normal expense. Instructional materials, follett education. I believe this is in for our AP classes in INS. We got some new books as we're growing. We need books. AP classes need books. And then finally, we had student transportation. The one I talked about, we had to transfer that from around $12,350. Any comments on that? Any thoughts on it?
I'll make a motion to pass the aforesaid budget items.
Second.
Okay. Did you have a question?
No, I just can you do the lights back on?
Oh, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
right back on.
Can somebody just right by you, sir, at the very back?
Like that.
Just flip the, thank you. All right. Okay, all those in favor of the budget transfers?
Aye.
Amelia?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? Okay, so we will move on from that side. Let me get back to our agenda here. And now we have our CIWP report. I don't know if we have one tonight since we did that. Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure that takes care of that. Okay, next we have 8B, which is the chair report. The only thing I have to say tonight is just a reminder of what our LSC generally does, which is we comply with the Open Meetings Act, we conduct meetings, we approve and monitor the continuous improvement work plan. We do looks like what we did now with the budget transfers would be budget and fundraising responsibilities, and we evaluate the principal. So that's there's a lot that goes on at Taft that we are not involved with, and those are kind of the main focuses of what we are involved with. You can also always go on to CPS online and look up local schools resource guide, and you can learn all about LSCs and CPS. All right, so we will move on to our committee chair reports. And our first report is the Budget Committee report.
LSC members, we did, as Mr. G alluded to, we did meet previously. We did go through all the different set accounts. As a whole, the budget is very healthy. We're all on pace to continue this school year in a healthy position. The only thing that we're going to focus on after the holidays is the school fees, which are a little behind due to the fact that we have gotten into the COVID, trying to get into the whole school year and getting ahead of the COVID. But outside of that, everything looks good. We did discuss how we can, figure how we can make things a little bit more progressive as we move forward. But in the whole, everything looks good. So from that point of view, the budget looks very good from a Taft perspective.
Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Scalera?
Nope. Mr. G or?
I'm good.
Okay. Then we're going to be moving on to the Professional Personnel Leadership Committee report. And LSC members, that was a single sheet that was handed out. If you didn't receive it, let us know. And I don't know if you have any more to hand out. Do you need this?
We'd like to take this opportunity. We met yesterday. The PPLC met yesterday, December 13th. We had a nice, lively discussion. I'd like to take the opportunity here at the LSC to share the accomplishment of one of our colleagues, INS teacher Arna Kumpara, mother of 2 small children, but managed not only to complete her graduate studies in curriculum and instruction at National Louis. I just got to say, she's proven herself a leader here and at her university. And we're fortunate to have her as a resource. We also discussed during the meeting the administration's strategies for implementing the federal Title IX mandate for bathrooms. They shared some signage that was sent by CPS and asked for input from the PPLC on how we would do that.
We also followed up on a recommendation that we made for an all-staff mandatory training for restorative justice practices. We have a lot of new staff, we have a very large staff, and we think as a staff, it's really important that our entire school has, at minimum, a basic understanding of what restorative practices are and what restorative justice means, and really building towards having some of our staff be more deeply trained in restorative justice practices. We're also currently working on a staff survey. Mr. Spencer and I are here, to represent teacher voice. But of course, we want to make sure that with our whole staff, we get input from our staff on all of the issues that are important to us as teachers in working with our students. And we've also discussed ideas, strategies, and best practices for improving the current issues with school climate and security, and particularly student behavior in the hallways. This is certainly not an issue that is only happening at Taft. But we all knew as educators and parents and concerned community members that, students living through a continued global pandemic, that, we would have difficulties that are maybe beyond what we normally experience. So it's looking at and thinking about as a school how we support our students and how we keep, the most positive and safe school culture.
Does anyone have any questions? All right, thank you for your report. Okay, we'll be moving on to our facilities report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We met today at 4:30 here. The biggest issue that we're circling around now is our custodial issues. And for the benefit of the group, this is not isolated to Taft. This is a CPS issue. It's a system-wide issue. Just about every school is facing challenges with their custodians, albeit filling positions, having them show up, cleaning thoroughly, maintaining a clean schedule. So this is something that for Mr. Levens it's been all-consuming with him. Because remember, we have 2 campuses. We have here, and we have the Freshman Academy, which is a brand new spanking building. So we want to make sure we stay on top of it and make sure that it doesn't fall by the wayside. Fortunately,
Principal G came up with a creative solution, because that's how we work here, because we identify problems and we try to troubleshoot. And if we can work with Dr. Lamont, and I promised I won't call her out, but I am, just because I was encouraged by our conversation, so thank you. Your openness, I think that's refreshing. People need to know that. It was reciprocated conversation, it's not just a one-way conversation. So we're gonna try to pull something off. There's precedent already set, it's just something new, and with anything new, people just have to think creatively and understand that these are not normal times. So we're gonna keep working on it. The staff that we have are extraordinary. Mr. Levins always shouts out to the folks that we have that are working overtime. They're coming in on weekends. 4,000 kids is a lot of kids to clean up after, but they're, the team is managing. So special shout out to our custodians who are here, boots on the ground, cleaning up after our kids. Bathroom issues continue. Again, this is not isolated at Taft. Bathrooms are an issue system-wide in the suburbs. And thank God it's not the TikTok nonsense that went on in the beginning of the year. This is the usual sticking garbage bags in the toilet and, clogging the toilet up and fun stuff like that. Graffiti continues. They just like etching stuff, I guess, and got to get them in this Trebbing's class so they can use their talents in a constructive way. We're working on that. You can't follow kids in the bathroom. I'm hoping that maybe the student voice committee and our 3 members, not to it's Ms. Password. I'd love to hear how the 2 students think about our bathroom situation, and we've got a problem. How can we solve for X? What are some ideas that you guys think would be helpful in helping your colleagues and peers know that you can't destruct public property? Destruction of property is kind of illegal. And that you want to go to the bathroom and have a safe environment to go into, so I don't know, just not sure. I know you're brand new, but I'm curious to know what our students think. They're the ones that use it. How can we help solve this problem? So, because it is a problem. The lockers, everybody who wanted a locker was assigned a locker. And if there are students who didn't sign up originally and now they're like, oh, I really want a locker, there's a form that they can access and fill out and complete. And it's a pretty seamless, no nonsense process. They'll get a locker. This process will be adopted next year. In September, kids really don't even wear coats into school, so we'll probably do the rollout Principal G like October-ish, November, when the weather starts to change and it gets more bold. We do have a landscape improvement. Our appearance is important to us. We want to make sure we look good for our kids and the kids take pride in their campus. And so you'll notice shrubbery around Natoma and Hurlbut, and we've removed stumps. It may not seem important, but it's cleaning up and making us look really sharp. The goal is to get new monument signs. I wrote it down, Joe, the corners of, I think, Hurlbut and Natoma? No, Bryn Mawr and
Natoma and Hurlbut.
And Hurlbut. So we want to have 2 monument signs, brand new monument signs. The alumni have funded it, so we're excited to get that moving. And then that's it for the varsity campus. Mike, right?
Yes.
And then at the freshman campus, it's the same thing. The custodial, it's a brand new building. We cannot lose the cleanliness at that school. Parking for our teachers will be, until we get it, Ms. Trebbing, I will keep screaming and hollering that it's a really bad issue for our teachers and our parents. There's nowhere to park there. There are places to park. We're not, it's not a priority. Parking isn't a priority, which I get. But it's something that we're going to continue to fight for because you need to park somewhere to come to school. And Mr. Scalera, I think that concludes what we discussed.
That is everything.
Are there any comments from the council, Mary Kay?
Hi there.
Hi.
Where did you say the 2 signs were going? Hurlbut, Natoma, and where else?
Bryn Mawr.
Bryn Mawr and Natoma.
And
right
Natoma.
on the corner.
No, it's Bryn Mawr and, no, Natoma, and then Hurlbut, and where the existing, oh, Tommy's got it pulled up, there we go. Hurlbut and.
They're both on Natoma, one's on Bryn Mawr, one's on Earl.
There we go. Tommy, you're the best. Everybody got it?
Okay.
We have a round of applause for Tommy.
Tommy's the best. Any other questions from the council on facilities? And our next meeting will be held here in this room at the varsity campus at 4:30 on February 8th. That concludes my report, Madam Chair.
One quick thing, speaking of bathrooms, I know we have a lot of new people here. If you need to use a bathroom, we got 2 clean bathrooms right outside the building.
And if you have a complaint, Mr. Levens just left.
All right, thank you, Ms. Ragusa. Do we have anybody here tonight from the Bilingual Advisory Council who would like to give us an update? No? Okey doke. Then we are moving to safety and security, Ms. McDormand.
We met today at 3:10. Usually start off the meeting with our update on security officers. We have a new hire, hopefully to be able to start January 3rd, and possibly another potential candidate. They're still continuing to search. That's been the hard thing right now. A lot of our people that are applying the far south, they don't want to come all the way northwest, which I don't know. We hired a new dean, also hoping to start January 3rd, I believe, Mark. And we hired a youth, I think we mentioned it before, youth intervention.
Yeah, he's an intervention officer.
Intervention officer, okay.
They're going to help our kids.
On the whole, Kat reported that most of the students are doing okay. We still have some groups of kids who are just still having a rough time. So I hope with the new youth intervention, they'll help out the kids. But most of them on the whole are okay. We have 2 CPD officers. Right now, one is on furlough, should be back in January, so we have some sub SROs coming in. That was a report pretty much for security and SROs. Our misconducts, our primary misconducts are still pretty much students vaping, mostly in the bathrooms. Security is doing a great job sweeping the bathroom, but can't be everywhere 24/7 at school. Security is also, checking on the hallways. Recently, we had a webinar, which was mentioned earlier today, for parents, parents against vaping, trying to convince the students not to vape, how dangerous it is, how toxic it is, how bad for their health, for brain, and still trying to figure out what to do to try to get it through to them. It was up pretty high. Varsity campus had about 118 that were, everything was confiscated. We had only about 8 at the freshman academy. There's still a number of students that are vaping THC. If they are caught, they're suspended, and they also have to write a reflection paper about the dangers of THC. They don't get the fact that there's so much mixtures going in on these vaping and the THC that it's, I don't know, we're trying to figure out a way to, any suggestions on what to do.
We did have a vaping workshop, did we not, Ms. Huff?
Right.
Yeah, I would suggest that
Yeah.
everyone refer to those resources. Ms. Dowell, I think you were there.
I was there.
And listening in, but they gave parents a number of resources to have conversations with their children, just about kind of an educational approach to it.
Right.
Do we have that posted anywhere on our website?
We should, yeah. Mr. Eaton, I think posted it, and I also emailed it to all parents.
Okay.
And it's up everywhere. It's not, like I said, it's not just here. It's just, and they think too, the pandemic has caused a lot of it just with the kids being home for the year and, whatever.
I think, real quickly, I think all the parents should watch it because they think they'd be surprised on what actually vaping devices are.
Yeah.
And like I tell parents, check their backpack. It's not their backpack, it's your backpack. You bought the backpack, it's your backpack. You
Right.
should be able to go in there and check for it.
As Ms. Hinman has reported to us before, it doesn't help either when some of the parents are supplying.
Right, I get it.
vaping
That's a smaller amount.
materials.
Yeah.
Yeah, small amount. Small amount. But that's pretty much it. It's just for the misconduct. It's just the basic, loitering in the hall or just, disruption. And there's different teams that have been put together to also help work with the students, between the leadership team, the offense team, discipline, PPLC, behavioral health, to help out with the students and any kind of help that they need, for if it's a matter of going to see counselor, therapy, depending on the extreme. Another Problem is tardiness for first period is up. So they're scanning IDs and trying to email the parents, let them know, because a lot of parents don't know if their kids are showing up late to first period. So hopefully that'll relieve a little bit of it, as long as, you know, that the parents know. So working on that. They mentioned, Brenda and Scott mentioned before about PPLC asking for training for staff for restorative justice to help out the staff, get to know more. We had a question at the meeting about the soft lockdown that was recently at Taft Freshman Academy. It was basically, for anybody that didn't know, it was a student that took a picture off the internet, airdropped it to other fellow students. It was a picture of a gun, and the problem was it kind of looked like a bathroom of Taft. Everybody was immediately alerted. There was no threat, but to be safe, they went and they did a soft lockdown, which is basically not keeping the kids locked in the rooms, but making sure everybody's just staying in their room. All the bathrooms were searched. Nothing was found, obviously. Disciplinary went right into the classroom where it was airdropped. The student immediately fessed up, realized how severe what he did was, and it was handled. And just wanted to clarify that with the parent that was questioning about why they did the lockdown. And that pretty much was it. Oh, we did have really quick, we had 3 students that did a presentation on some the new Omicron for the COVID, and they did a really great job. I think somebody approached you first, one of the students approached you first, Scott, about doing the presentation.
My colleague of mine who
Yeah.
referred the students.
And they did a presentation at PPLC yesterday. They were advised to bring it to the Board of Ed because that's where they have to make their suggestions. But they were very articulate. I was very impressed with them. I think they were all juniors. And that wrapped up the meeting.
Ms. McDormand, if I could just add one more
Sure.
thing. We talked about the kid that downloaded a picture of a gun and airdropped it to everybody. In the last 6 hours, we had another student do that with another incident. So if anybody gets it out there, we've investigated. It has no credibility at all, but this is what kids are doing right now. They get a picture off the internet, they airdrop it, and airdropping is all of a sudden it appears on your phone. So if it's out there, you're seeing it, just let you know it's been investigated 5 hours ago and we're fine.
Yeah, and they just think, just they think it's funny.
Yep.
And don't realize the severity behind it.
Okay, does anybody have any questions for Ms. McDormand on the LSC? Okay, thank you, Ms. McDormand. Okay, so we are going to move on to our student representatives. This is the first time we've had more than one student representative. So what, have you guys discussed the order in which you'd like to go? Otherwise, I'll just go kind of alphabetically, if that's, okay. Okay, Ms. Mano, do you have something to share?
I don't think there's much to report this time around, as students are just settling into the upcoming winter break as final tests are completed throughout the week. And so we have no major concerns regarding the student body itself.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Mano. Now, Ms. Pyle, do you have something you wanted to share?
Yes, I have about 5 points that I want to bring up. Again, I'd like to reiterate how honored and privileged I am to be here to use my voice to share the concerns and thoughts of the student body. In the past month, many students have talked about the tremendous amount of workload that they've been getting, and the work has been so much to the point that students are spending over 4 hours doing homework at night. And according to a survey that was done by the Student Voice Committee, 20% of people have been spending 4 hours doing homework. And, from this data, you can see that a lot of students are spending more time doing homework than needed. And a lot of students have many other obligations, other than school. A lot of them have jobs, sports, clubs, and chores to do when they get home. And some people also don't get home immediately because they might have to take 2 buses home, or they might get stuck in traffic. So I propose that we bring back ATL days, or maybe somehow implement a study hall class where the students are able to finish homework there, because a lot of people end up spending many hours of up at night, like going to sleep around 12 o'clock in the morning, and then they're tired when they get to school. So it's really not good for anyone. Another point that I wanted to bring up was tutoring. I find that a lot of students are having a hard time right now in school, especially coming back from the pandemic. They need help with their studies, and it would be nice if there's a time where students can help. You know, not everybody feels comfortable, you know, asking questions in front of a large group of people, so it'd be nice to have that one-on-one time with teachers. Another issue that brings great concern is the amount of fights happening in school, especially at the TFA, the Freshman Academy. There's been a lot of fights there recently, and a lot of fights at the varsity campus as well. And a lot of students have said that they feel very unsafe because of the amount of fights are happening, and it seems like there's nothing really being done about it. Like a lot of students who end up getting in fights, they just come back to school the next day. Like it doesn't seem like there's that much punishment done. Also, the amount of smoking in the bathrooms. It's really uncomfortable when you go to, you know, do your business and there's a lot of people who get smoking weed or vaping. No one should have to go to the bathroom or have to cough after doing their business. Also, in the past 2 weeks, there have been a lack of substitute teachers in classes, so a lot of students end up spending their time in the auditorium, and they lose learning time. And I feel like those times could have been used as a study hall. I was fortunate enough to have subs for each of my teachers that weren't here, so I used it as time to catch up on homework, but a lot of people didn't have that same opportunity, so they just spent the time sitting there wasting time. And there's not that much good service in the auditorium, so they can't really do anything. And also, on this same topic, when teachers are at home, maybe because of COVID or other reasons, a lot of times they don't answer their emails. So when you do need to ask them for help, they just don't answer, and you're left there stuck not knowing what to do. I myself have emailed teachers and they've yet to answer my emails, and it's been a week now. So it's really upsetting when, you know, you need help with something and they just refuse to answer, but yet they send out assignments. Also, for the cafeteria, there are no proper lunch trays. I've seen people using a half of a styrofoam box as their lunch. I think that the school could do a little better and get proper meal trays for everyone. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, since Amelia had finished and didn't really have anything to say, I think before we move on to you, Skylar, if anybody has any questions or on the LSC for Ms. Pyle. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. This is what we do. When you say lack of substitute teachers, so you go to your class and your teacher's not there and no adult is in the room to, what do you do? What do you guys do?
So if you don't have a teacher, they just send you to the auditorium because there's no one to watch over you, basically.
There's a note on the door that says, please report to the auditorium.
And CPS is okay with this?
Yes. It's lack of substitutes. We can't get substitute.
The norm.
Yeah. In the nation.
Okay, so,
yeah.
okay.
So, and we have some people in there watching the kitchen. They're just not by themselves.
Okay, so what can we as Taft do? I don't care what CPS is ignoring this. What can Taft do to focus on this problem?
I'm open for suggestions.
Okay. When you guys are in the auditorium, what are you doing?
You basically just sit there. Last time I was in the auditorium, they didn't provide Chromebooks, and Chromebooks can be helpful to actually work on stuff.
Okay. Okay, so there's an idea.
Yeah.
So if there were Chromebooks in the auditorium, you guys could work, but Ms. Pyle, did you say the internet's bad or something?
You don't, yeah, the service is really bad in the auditorium.
Tommy, can you check that?
It's something Mr.
So today,
Yep.
we set it the access point.
Okay, we reset the access point.
Yeah,
Okay,
we set it for.
you're always ahead of things, Tommy. Thank you.
So are you given an assignment, like, whatever your teacher was gonna teach you that day, do they provide a syllabus to you of stuff that you would have learned so that you can go read or go online or do something to get educated, or you're just sitting there on your phone? But you can't because you don't have service.
I think it depends on the teacher and if they assign anything or not. My teachers always assign work to do, but not all teachers do that, so some people are just.
There's not consistency amongst.
Yeah, there's not.
Okay. And when you're saying lack of trays, like literally the trays to carry your food, we don't have enough trays to carry your food?
I've never seen anyone with a lunch tray. I always see them with these white paper plates.
I gotta be honest, I'm up there every day with the garbage can walking around and they're all emptying the trays in there, so. Yeah,
Yeah, they are like paper trays, but
Okay.
sometimes they only have styrofoam.
okay, we'll look into that.
What period do you have lunch?
We have 7, yeah.
So I'm wondering if there's like an issue with the amount of staff and getting stuff washed to turn it around for, those other periods.
Styrofoam disposables.
Yeah, it's all,
By
there are no
seven
trays.
periods, there aren't.
Oh,
Yeah, no trays to put them on, they're all disposable.
oh, they're all disposable.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Okay. All
And then
right.
lastly, Maria, you haven't reported out fights,
No, we didn't have any reports given on it.
but you guys are witnessing them at both
I mean, it
campuses?
would be on the,
We can confirm if,
You know what I appreciate what you said, is that what's the accountability with these kids? If they're fighting, they're back in school the next day. So I appreciate that. Thank you for saying that. That restores hope for me. There should be. It's a very, it's very rigorous. We don't really punish, so it's.
So my question is, if you find 2 students fighting, what happens then?
Kat, are you here? I thought I saw Kat.
She is here.
Kat,
I am here.
can you explain what happened to me too?
So we are restorative practice at school. We do not just punish, because the research shows that punishment alone teaches kids to be sneakier and they don't really learn from their mistakes, right? So we want to help teach them how not to repeat mistakes. So what we do is we try to address whatever harm they created and help them see what happened, what harm they created, and then we ask them to repair the harm. So if someone's throwing food in the lunchroom, they may end up doing community service, helping to throw away food products or trays or, empty detritus during lunch. If someone is in an argument with another kid and it escalates, sometimes there is a suspension if it's extreme. A lot of times it's kids who know each other, it's communication. So we bring them together and we help them resolve the conflict so that going forward, it doesn't continue or escalate or lead to additional, drama. So we have restorative practices. We also do detention. We have parent conferences. We ask all students to do reflection assignments when they're in detention because we want them to reflect on what it is they've done and to actually go forward knowing that it's inappropriate and not to do it again, right? We do in-school suspensions. We just hired this youth interventionist person who's going to be doing groups with our students and helping them do skill building during their in-school suspension. So our preference is to do in-school suspension because out-of-school suspension is a day off, vacation. It's sleeping in and playing video games all day, right? We want them in school, catching up on their work. We want them talking to their counselor. We want them writing up an essay on the harms of vaping, right? And it's all part of the rigor to help them learn from their mistakes and go forward because, as you know, adolescents do not have fully formed brains yet, and they often make really silly judgment calls. And so one of our jobs is to help them recognize that. We don't want to just take them out of school. We want them in school. We want them learning. We don't want them in instructional time. If there's a safety issue, they will be suspended out of school. If there continues to be issues, we have progressive discipline so that initially we may start here, but if we continue to have issues with the student,
then the consequences will increase. But there are consequences, and there's a lot of attempts to really help people.
Kat, can I add this real quick? These are a product of the times we're in right now. We just took kids from a pandemic where they were in a silo and put them with each other, and they're having a hard time with each other, okay? This is just not Taft, this is the nation right now. The other thing that you need to realize is although the uptick is all over the nation right now with kids, go to YouTube and put in high school fight. There'll be 500 pages of all these high school fights. The problem is, here's what I think that's happening, is that last week we had a fight between two kids in the hallway about a pair of sunglasses. One person thought they borrowed them, one person thought they stole them. There was a fight. After the fight was over, it was over 5 minutes. I walked in the cafeteria. Every kid was watching the fight on their phone. It was airdropped to everybody. So it seems like, oh my God, there's a lot of fights here. It's just not. Normally that fight would have taken place and 20 people would have understood it and they would have talked about it, it would have been over. Right now, when there's a fight in any school, I guarantee it's airdropped to every kid and every parent in the neighborhood. So it seems like it's out of control. It's not. It's a little uptick from what we're used to, but in no way is it just out of control. You just need to understand that. And I'm going to guarantee, a day later, both kids were apologetic to each other. They really are. So the restorative practices works.
Does anybody else on the LSC have any questions for Ms. Pyle?
I'd like to underline that that's why the PPLC is working with the administration to get training in restorative justice that I mentioned in my report. There's a lot of misunderstanding and miscommunication about how exactly to implement it. And we're really calling for that and hoping that CPS Central Office can look us up as they said that they will.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Pyle. All right, Ms. Lim, your report, please.
I just have a few things to address. The first thing is an ongoing issue, just the impact for mask wearing and Taft. We all know about Omicron and it's caused a lot of concerns with students, especially the daily emails about COVID cases. And in the recent survey of students, says about 55% of students see improper mask wearing for the majority of the school week. However, we acknowledge the administration's attempts at ensuring proper mask wearing in the halls. For example, I've seen the vice principals in the hallways before, I think a few weeks ago, and it seems to be pretty okay. Although, some students are a little aggressive when it comes to people saying that people ask for telling them to carry their mask. But anyways, I think to fight this spread, maybe investing in better masks, such as KN95 masks, I think, might be helpful to that. Yes. And the second point has to do with the Learn, Plan, Succeed. This year's senior seminar class appears to be helpful to most seniors, but only about, like we said, half of the seniors have that class. But many students feel that they haven't been given the resources to explore other postgraduate options besides college. And the focus on college seems to make students feel overwhelmed and limiting to some students and their options. And to those without the senior seminar class, counselor visits and the information about college applications was given shortly before priority deadlines. And priority deadlines are crucial for those who want scholarships and who want access to money, basically. And I think that this left many students with a limited amount of time to think about their futures with the college when the counselor visits were so short for the deadlines. I think for next year, maybe having this information to us early in the school year or even towards the end of the junior year might be helpful to give the students more time to think about their options and scholarships they have to apply to. And my third point is the lack of school spirit and community. Sorry, this is a suggestion, but obviously socialization is crucial after remote learning, and clubs and sports are a way for students to come together and kind of recreate a sense of community. However, the promotion of clubs using posters and emails aren't always effective, as there's a lot of commotion in the halls, they're very crowded, and many students don't check their emails, which is an issue in itself. And the freshman campus probably does not have the same posters that varsity campus has, because the varsity campus has more clubs than the freshman campus does. So I think bringing back student announcements might be helpful to directly promote the clubs at Taft, not just sports. And this means that the student would actually do the announcements themselves. Whether that be just one person elected, that might be a little more easier, especially on administration. These announcements could be scheduled every week or day during a specific period. And in general, I think scheduled announcements are much more easier on teachers and students to base their work around, rather than having them at random periods. Yeah. And the student announcements would probably increase club participation and overall uplift the sense of community. Especially at the freshman campus, students cannot participate in clubs if they're not aware of their existence. And that's all. Thank you.
That's a great suggestion, and it's not even going to be a discussion. We're going to start that when we come back from the break. We're going to have the auditions. It'll start second semester on both campuses. That's a great idea.
Does anybody else have any questions for Ms. Lynn?
I have a question, but I appreciate the.
Thank you, guys.
I appreciate the suggestion about the college readiness. And I don't, I defer to teachers, I defer to APs, but, certainly queuing you guys up at the end of junior year instead of shotgun, beginning of senior year when you're getting all your applications in. I don't know if it makes sense or having follow up with that principal G. I mean, is the consensus that they lose the summer and you have to do it again in the, fall as they come in as seniors? But it seems like it'd be beneficial to get a jump start on it.
We're going to talk. We'll handle that.
I'm just gonna add thank you both to the principals.
Yes.
Skylar, for your honest feedback, and Skylar, you made me think about something that I think we should, we could revisit or visit as an LSC. I also think another sort of 21st century way that we can and should be making announcements in a school is we have a huge student body and 2 campuses, black screens in the hallway that have
Lane has them.
running announcements. We could.
How many do they have?
Amundsen has them too.
I don't know, I walked to the first, second, or third floor to their 9th gym. I don't remember. I passed 4 screens and it was moving announcements, any kind of announcement.
Next semester we'll have 5.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay, thank you. Thank you for your report. All right, we are moving on now to the arts report, and that will be done tonight by Ms. Doherty Trebbing.
Yeah, I thought, can you just talk to me?
Oh, he did.
The code, do you want me to just go for it?
Can I just ask, Mr. Cohen, did we win? Never mind. Never mind.
Ran out of time.
Okay.
So Mr. Cohen, I'm gonna go for it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna summarize a little bit because
I
it's
thought it was a game tonight.
All right. But thank you, Mr. Cohen, who always provides an arts report, which, of course, we value the arts at Taft. I'm one of the arts teachers at Taft. So visual art, we want to acknowledge visual art teacher Jenny Trejo, who has been nominated for a Golden Apple Award.
Oh, nice. Where's your stand? Can you stand up?
Stand up. Stand up.
We'll find out in February whether or not she advances to the next round, but if anyone knows anything about
about the Golden Apple Award, just someone being nominated is sort of already winning because they're being acknowledged as an extraordinary educator. Music, students in Ms. Jones and Mr. Poltakis' choir classes performed their winter concert in class today, and here's something cool, I think this would be for families. The concert was recorded and will be distributed virtually to parents as a holiday treat, so to get to see their kids, see and hear their kids in their performance.
Mr. Poltakis, can you stand up, please? I know you're in the back there.
See here? Oh.
Yes, he is.
Drama, Taft will be competing in the 2022 Chicago Youth Theater Festival on February 19th. It's the only competitive adjudicated drama event in the city and serves as the de facto city championship in theatrical performances. Right, we talk a lot about sports achievements at Taft, but we also have arts students achieving as well. And they will be bringing a team of 20 students to compete in the monologue and ensemble scene categories and to defend our city championships in the two-person scene and musical performance categories. I'm just going to shout out two names. We hear about our awesome alumni in drama, but Catherine Herrera and Georgia Cozo continue to excel beyond Taft and doing amazing things. And I'm going to skip the details because I know we'll hear about them again because they're amazing. Music and drama, the winter play. So, Mr. Cohen, I get to say it this time. The post-apocalyptic Simpsons musical Mr. Burns, a post-electric play. So yes, the Simpsons Mr. Burns. I'm very excited about this. Is a month into rehearsals with Mr. Cohen and the music director trifecta of Ms. Jones, Ms. Foster, and Mr. Poltakis. I've never been more excited or more scared, in a good way, to be working on a show at Taft. This is the most ambitious and demanding production Mr. Cohen has ever directed, and the students continue to exceed expectations. Their professionalism, dedication, and eagerness to take good risks, creative risks, is a continuing source of inspiration. Mr. Burns runs February 9th through February 12th in the Taft Black Box Theater and will feature the work of more than 40 students on stage and behind the scenes. More updates to come. I always just have to pause and add, for anyone here that's a member of our school community that has not experienced a Taft production, and particularly the amazing, I would say, sort of, I'm trying to, all of a sudden I'm lost for words. The work that our students do in those productions, particularly in our black box theater, if you know about theater, you sort of know about those smaller, intimate spaces. The work that's done with our students and with that department of educators is really stellar. It always is. And then English and drama, poetry out loud, which many of you may know about. Taft English and drama departments will be collaborating to produce this year's Poetry Out Loud competition. This year will be happening on Thursday, January 27th. I'm skipping over some details, but we'll hear more. And we're going to highlight again that last year, Taft's very own Catherine Herrera won the state championship and went on to represent Taft and the entire state of Illinois in the national semifinals. And I think that's it. And Mr. Cohen, I hope I did okay.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions about that report? Okay. We're now moving on to our athletics report with Ms. Kopp.
Hello.
Hi.
So this is a report from our athletic director, Mr. Kessler. So thank you, Mr. Kessler. Winter sports are in full swing at Taft. Bowling, basketball, cheer, POMs, swimming, and wrestling teams are all working hard every day to perform at the highest level and represent Taft well. Boys basketball, girls basketball, and cheer teams are being led by first-year coaches Andre Harris, Brandon Lathan, and Kaylin Eifert, respectively. We couldn't be more happy to have all of them as part of the Eagle family. Please stay tuned for postseason information, as our teams are sure to make deep runs. Thanks. I can't answer any questions.
Okay. All right. Okay, so moving on to 8D, our report of Friends of Taft, etc., with Ms. Bernacki. Do you have anything to report out?
I do not. I do not have a PTSA report, and I did not get a report from the alumni either. So that is all.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we're moving on to number 9, old business. So under old business, I am providing written notice to Mr. G for his contract renewal. Thank you. We voted last meeting to approve his 4-year contract.
Just real quick, thank you to the LSC, obviously, thank you to all the teachers, but a special thank you goes out to Anita and Mary Kay, who's done this 3 times now, so I really do appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. I really do appreciate it.
Okay, and now, did we want to, in our open meeting tonight, schedule a closed session for the annual principal evaluation, getting that started, or do we, okay, I know that I talked to you about that, Chris. Do you want to go ahead and do that? Because we will not be meeting in January. Our next meeting is February 8th. And so if we want to get our process started, if we want to have a closed meeting, we have to schedule that in an open meeting. Okay. So Chris, did you have any?
So our next meeting is February 8th. Do we want to get it in before that or after that? Yes. So February 1st is the Tuesday before that.
Let's see. Oh, that's Chinese New Year.
Okay.
I'll bring wontons.
What's the year of? I don't know.
Deal.
Dragon, right, or no?
Last year was the ox. Okay.
The
So,
eagle.
it's important that, Mr. Fleinsman is scrubbing. I care what your schedule is, because you two need to absolutely be there.
I don't know of anything that would be on Tuesday.
It's kind of a safe,
Yeah, this is fine.
an evening time, about 5:30.
Earlier the better.
Yeah, the
earlier the better, because they can.
Okay, 4:30.
Yeah, how does that work for you guys? Because I know there are other people that work.
You can't, Anita?
I can't.
Oh, you were sure.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
Is,
I can't.
is 4?
Correct, the students are or are not.
The students can participate in the discussion if we want that, but this is an initial discussion to really kind of set the parameters.
Perfect.
So I don't think that the students need to be there because it's not really about discussing, it's more about kind of setting our parameters.
Okay, so I am proposing February 1st at 4:30 here at the varsity campus.
I second.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? Okay, great. Thanks so much for doing that, Chris. All right, any new business from the LSC? No? Okay, great. Now we're on to number 11. Thank you so much, our virtual and our in-person audience, for sticking with us. It is now time for public participation. Our public participation is limited to 2 minutes per person. We do have a sign-up sheet over there if you are in person. If anybody needed to sign up who hasn't signed up, I think we still have a few slots. And then we will turn to our virtual participation. If you want to go ahead now and just type in, if you would like to be included in the public comment, go ahead and type that in, and Mr. Trin will keep track of you. Okay.
Our first public comment speaker is Sarah Ronkovich. George.
And if you could just kind of let us know your connection to the Taft community.
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, everybody. My name is Sarah Crawford George. I'm the executive committee member of the United Cyber, local political organization. I'm also a CPS parent and a community member, and I'm just here to say thank you. It is so clear from the amount of work that you all have done that all of the administrators and the educators in the school care so deeply about their students, about keeping all of them safe, and making sure that this school remains an affirming environment for everyone learning here. And so I just wanted to say thank you all for that commitment. We support you, and we're so proud to have this jewel as part of our neighborhood, and all of you working here, making our neighborhoods better. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next public comment speaker is Ms. Jennifer Jones.
Hello, everybody. I'm so happy to be here in person. I'm an eighth grader at Taft, and I've been following along online with the LSC when I can. It's really good to see all of you, meet some of you. I too just want to give my thanks for everything that you do. It is clear how much you care about our kids and the community. So thanks a lot. Good to meet everyone.
Thank you.
And our last public comment speaker is Mr. Art Ellingson.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I got handouts because I thought I'd have 3 or 4 minutes, but I'm gonna give my handouts around. But I'm here tonight primarily because there's a big flap about the Veterans Day reaction to the cancellation of the Pearl Harbor Day event here. And it was called to my attention, there was all kinds of stuff on Facebook. And the stuff on Facebook was basically calling for this guy's to be fired because he wasn't pro-veteran. Now, I'm a veteran and a graduate of Taft High School. Here is one of the email pictures he sent out inviting veterans to come to a football game. Here's another one. And when I first met this guy, there was no monument to veterans. I called him on the phone. The first time I met him, he gave me his cell phone number. It was a football game someplace. I think it was at Main Stadium, but I could be wrong. And I said, is there a monument honoring veterans? He said, I don't know. I don't think so, but let me find out. A week or so later, he calls back. He said, I've gone through the halls of the whole school. There is no such thing. And we began working on getting one done, and it happened about 3 years ago, I think. So I came here not knowing that you would sign the extended his contract. The people on Facebook, there were 25, 30 pages of comments. I couldn't find them this afternoon. But they thought the contract was up next month. And they were urging him to be shown the door. And I came here to say he's the most pro-veteran employee in the Chicago Public Schools I've ever met.
Thank you.
And I'm a Vietnam veteran.
Thank you.
It was canceled, but cold weather was the answer. And as I read the comments on Facebook, I recognized one of, I don't know how many names were there. There were pages of comments. I recognized one name. As far as I know, the rest of them were not veterans. I'm an officer in 3 different veterans groups, and I have the membership list of those veterans groups, and I put some of the names into my computer. I know I'm a computer science guy, and I know how to scan my whole computer. I couldn't find the names that came up in an email to me who led the chart. It was another guy named Mr. G, but not that one. I couldn't find him on my computer except in a list of employees of CPS. And one of them was a bilingual teacher someplace, one was a porter. I don't even know what a porter is. But I just want to let you know that from where I sit as an officer in 3 different veteran groups, this guy is very pro-veteran and always has been. And I was led to believe by all these Facebook comments that, they were encouraging you guys to show him the door. And I just wanted to make sure everyone knew, because I didn't know you would approve the contract until 3 minutes ago, or 4 minutes ago, that, this guy is very pro-veteran, and he has been, and I appreciate that. I have gone to your snack counter at the football stadium over here, ordered something, and had a student offer to buy my whatever I bought. 2 years ago, they had this veterans coin toss thing, and I'll show you students what this is, but I was asked to do a coin toss for a football game, and that's the point. Okay, I still carry it in my pocket. I know my time is up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service. And our last public comment speaker is Robert Markwick.
It's me.
Should I say Senator Markwick?
Well, that's the official title.
Hello.
Well, that's fine, all right, no, thank you. So, I just wanted to say, thank you. I came to watch the state of the school address, and I'm really, so first of all, thank you all for your service and for the wonderful work you're doing, and you, young people, you need to stay involved and get involved and do more. That is fantastic. I actually, I wanted to do 2 things. One was to watch the state of school for 2 reasons. Number one, not the least of which, I am the senator that represents the entire district. But more importantly, as strange as I find that you guys all, so do I. I'm kind of an old dad. But I have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old. My 5-year-old is a CPS student here, and my 2-year-old will. And I am so happy that this will be my neighborhood school.
Yes.
I'm so happy that this will be the neighborhood school, and I cannot wait that to see that my children will be on Pathway Center. So thank you for all of the good work that you're doing. I also wanted to let the LSC know that I had a wonderful opportunity. I had a young student reach out to me from Taft and ask to do an internship at my office, my legislative office. And she's been working with my director of outreach, who is also a CPS grad, who we are so proud of. And through that internship, she asked me to come and address the AP government class. Are you taking AP government? You should. So good for you. You should both be in it, or you did it, so good for you. And Mr. Francolino, what a wonderful class. I was there for 2 periods, so I spoke to 2 classes, and I am so proud of someone who values democracy. You might know I passed a bill recently that will provide for elected school boards to try to own schools. I value that civic engagement, civic participation, and the way that Mr. Francolino is doing it in the school, in the class, is so wonderful. He is not pushing an agenda. He is not trying to indoctrinate anybody. So I'll be brief. I just wanted to say I offered him an opportunity to his classes to come down to Springfield. I've offered the services. They don't know it yet, but Representative Stevens and Representative LaPointe will work with us, with staff, with lobbyists to give them an immersive experience to show them what government actually works like, since that is what they're interested in. So, and if you did the class, come down and join us anyway, because you need to get involved. So thank you so much for all of the good work that you're doing. Again, as your senator, please, if there's any way I can help you, I'm happy to do it. And I'm just so grateful to see the performance improvements here at Taft, and I'm just so proud of it as a resident of this district. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes the in-house, but we got.
Let's start from the top.
Okay.
I can't read it from here.
Sorry, Mr. Trin, if you want to just call out the people, as long as they actually have like real names and not strange made up names. We do have sometimes some people drop in who just want to make weird noises. Is that it? Nobody?
That's it, nobody.
Oh, no public comment online.
Okay,
Madam Chair.
last call for virtual public comment. Wait, somebody says there is one.
Someone signed
Rob
up.
S. Okay.
You want to unmute Rob S?
They're ready to mute them just in case.
I'd like to start off with thanking our veterans and our first responders. Thank you all for your service. I just wanted to comment on the group that these students were trying to create, specifically Turning Point USA. I just wanted to kind of give you guys a little bit of my 2 cents as to it going against the mission statement of this school. When it comes
to, can you introduce yourself? I'm sorry, I don't know if you said how you're connected to Taft, just so we all know who you are.
Yeah, my name is Robert, and I have a son who will be an incoming freshman in the next school year. And I was reading an article in regards to a group that was shut down by, it sounds like, the principal of the school, in regards to Turning Point USA, conservative youth group. I believe the mission statement of this school is inclusiveness. By actually it's kind of contradicting if you're shutting down a group of individuals based off of their opinions and viewpoints. it kind of goes against your mission statement. So I kind of wanted the people to be aware of what is actually going on with this. And I think it's extremely wrong of anybody to make that decision as to this group of individuals being labeled something that they possibly aren't. And it's not fair to these group of kids that are actually trying to put forth their knowledge and their views on the world. I just don't think it's right. And it definitely goes against the mission statement of Taft, whereas you're stating that you are an inclusive school or an organization that is inclusive. This goes against your mission is kind of all I wanted to say.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Are there any other comments, virtual comments?
I think that's it, Madam Chair.
Okey doke. All right, thank you everybody for sticking with us. Does any, oh, sure. Go
Just real quick,
ahead.
just so I can answer that last person's question, I know the article that they were referring to, it said that I had mixed the organization. I actually had to Google that word, I didn't know what that meant. I did not cancel that thing. If you read the fourth paragraph in that same article, they haven't even applied to become a group, and we haven't even talked about them yet. So, and by the way, our mission is to educate global citizens. That's our mission, anything, and also to create a better world. Real quick before I go, quick thank you to Senator Martin. Thank you. You sent an email when all that nonsense was going on. You really uplifted my spirits. I'm a little mad at you right now, and I thought I'd be the best dressed person here, and you kind of outdid me. I will add this, that your daughter's at Beard, and my daughter is teaching at Beard right now, so she's being taught by what we call Little G, okay? So I appreciate that. You've proven yourself in the classroom, and perhaps we can get you here as maybe for principal for a day, but we can talk about that. Okay?
I like that.
Yeah. Last thing I want to say is that I teach the kids 2 lessons here at Taft. The first lesson I always teach them, I think everybody knows, school starts at 7:30. The last lesson I teach them at graduation is when they see a veteran and they know it's a veteran, they thank him for their service and their sacrifice, and there is no exception to that rule at all. So with that said, I'll say it tonight, thank you all our veterans that are listening or out there, and thank you, Art. Thank you for your service. Can we have a round of applause for our veterans?
Once again, I'd like to thank everybody for coming tonight and sticking with us and sitting through our entire meeting. It's really important for the student body that you understand what's going on here and that you can provide support to our students. And with that, I'd like to ask if anybody can make a motion to adjourn.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second, all in favor? Aye. Thank you, everybody.